I never imagined I'd be smiling at my great-aunt Victoria's funeral. But then again, I never thought I'd live to see the day when the truth would finally start unraveling the web she'd spun for decades. It feels strange to confess it, but the grin I wore wasn't for her demise. It was for all the tangled lies that were finally being exposed, the ones that had suffocated me and my family for years. You see, Victoria Vance wasn't just any relative. She was the matriarch of our family, the kind who wielded power like a scepter, commanding respect and fear in equal measure. Her public image was impeccable, a philanthropist, a business magnate, a local legend. But to those who really knew her, she was a tyrant with a heart as cold as the money she cherished. For years, I lived under her shadow, trying to tiptoe around her expectations and demands. When I was younger, I naively thought that if I just played the part, I could win her approval. But nothing I did was ever good enough. "Nyara, why can't you be more like your cousin Ethan?" she'd say with a tight-lipped smile. It was always about Ethan, the golden child, the one who could do no wrong. The irony was that Ethan was as trapped as the rest of us, just better at hiding it. But it wasn't until Victoria's retirement party that everything changed. It was supposed to be a night of celebration, a grand farewell to a woman who had allegedly given so much. I remember the air being thick with the scent of expensive perfume and the clink of champagne glasses. The room was filled with well-wishers, all eager to bask in her glory one last time. I tried to blend into the background, hoping to dodge Victoria's critical gaze. I was about to slip out for some fresh air when I overheard a conversation between a reporter and an old family friend. They were whispering about a scandalous revelation that threatened Victoria's legacy. A secret affair, political bribery, tax evasion. My heart raced. Could it be true? I knew she had skeletons in her closet, but to hear this confirmed was exhilarating and terrifying. The thought of confronting her then seemed impossible, but fate had other plans. As the night wore on, fueled by liquid courage, I found myself standing on the small stage, microphone in hand. With everyone staring, the words tumbled out before I could stop them. I spoke about truth, about the need to reclaim our family's name from the shadows of deceit. My voice trembled, but I held firm, knowing this was my moment to finally stand up to her. Victoria looked at me with a mix of shock and fury, but I saw something else flickering in her eyes. Fear. It was a side of her I had never seen, and it sparked something inside me. The room fell silent as I revealed the whispers I'd overheard, daring to suggest that her pristine veneer was nothing but a well-crafted illusion. She tried to interrupt, to dismiss my claims, but the guests were already shifting in their seats, eyes wide with disbelief and curiosity. At first, I thought she'd brush it off with her usual aplomb, dismissing me as the family black sheep with another of her patronizing smiles. But the murmurs grew louder, and suddenly, it wasn't just me questioning her integrity. Other voices joined in, emboldened by my audacity. It was as if a dam had broken, years of pent-up frustration flooding the room. Watching Victoria falter, I felt the weight of years lift off my shoulders. It was liberating, almost euphoric, to see her empire crumble, even if just a little. But with that came an unexpected wave of guilt. She was family, after all. Had I gone too far? Yet, as I glanced around, seeing others nodding in agreement, I realized this was bigger than me. It was about setting things right, about freeing ourselves from her oppressive reign. The aftermath was messy. Her reputation took a hit, but she wasn't going down without a fight. She played the victim, spinning new tales to cover the old, but the damage had been done. The whispers grew louder, spreading beyond our little circle, tainting the legacy she had worked so hard to craft. Ethan and I found ourselves caught in the crossfire, but for the first time, I felt a strange sense of camaraderie with him. We were allies in a battle we never thought we'd be brave enough to fight. Victoria became more reclusive, retreating into the shadows she'd always controlled. The family gatherings changed. They were no longer suffocating under her scrutiny. In her absence, we found room to breathe, to be ourselves. The fear that had gripped us slowly dissipated, replaced by a tentative hope for a future where our lives weren't dictated by her whims. If you're loving this story, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell so you never miss another one." And then, just like that, she was gone. Her passing was sudden, and despite everything, it stirred a complex brew of emotions. At the funeral, as I stood beside her casket, I expected to feel some sense of closure, maybe even triumph. Instead, I found myself reflecting on the deeper lesson hidden in the chaos. It wasn't just about bringing her down. It was about breaking free from the chains of deceit, about finding the courage to stand for truth, even when it meant standing alone. In the end, I learned that reclaiming our family name wasn't about erasing Victoria's legacy. It was about rewriting our own. It was about stepping out of her shadow and learning to smile for ourselves, not for her approval. As I looked around at my family, I knew we'd emerge stronger, wiser, and perhaps a little more compassionate. So yes, I smiled at the funeral, but it wasn't for the reasons one might assume. It was a smile born from the ashes of a family reborn, from the courage to finally speak up and the hope that we could rise above the past. Victoria's reign may have ended, but for us, it was only the beginning of a new chapter. One written in truth, forged in the trials of facing a legacy that was never truly our own.